There are so many mysteries that's out there, all throughout the world, throughout the years. We're going to talk about some of those mysteries in my 5-part series. Part 1 starts now, after the break. Trust and believe. Greetings, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to episode 137 of the Nomad Cast. I'm your host, D.A. Hey, got a great show lined up. If you're a fan of mysteries, unsolved mysteries, hey, how did they get away with this? This is the episode for you. Today is part 1 of 5 episodes that we're going to talk about mysteries. How did that happen? How did they get away with this? What's going on with that? Did that get solved? We're going to talk about those mysteries. Today, we got a mystery, part 1, d.b.cooper. I'm going to tell you that story, and it's funny that it hasn't been solved yet. Let's go ahead and start the show. In 1971, D.B. Cooper, also known as Dan Cooper, hijacked a plane traveling from Portland, Oregon, en route to Seattle, Washington. D.B. Cooper bought a ticket for $20 for Northwest Orient Flight 305. He provided his name, Dan Cooper, which turned out to be false. Before takeoff, he handed the flight attendant a note claiming of a bomb attached to his briefcase. Upon opening the briefcase, it displayed utilities associated with bombs. Cooper demanded 4 parachutes and $200,000 in $20 bills. The flight landed in Seattle, and Cooper released the 36 passengers when authorities provided the money and parachutes. He forced 2 pilots and a flight engineer and a flight attendant to remain on the plane. The plane refueled, and he ordered the pilots to fly to Mexico. He instructed the plane to fly under 10,000 feet at a speed slower than 200 knots. Around 8 o'clock p.m., between Seattle and Reno, Nevada, Cooper lowered the rear steps and jumped. He disappeared. Now, doing the research on this topic, I would tell you the first time I heard about this, I was stationed in Germany, and they had the AFN commercials. And they was talking about D.B. Cooper. How did he get away? Is he still alive? And all that. And I'm like, there's no way this guy did all of this back in 1971, and he still ain't been found. I have so many questions. I even wrote them down. First question I have, how was he able to give instructions when he was outnumbered? Again, I got it. 1971, times were different. But he is the only guy, right? He has a briefcase that had bombs in it. 36 passengers on a plane, flight attendants, flight engineers, the flight crew, the pilots. No one could overpower this guy. Someone should have been like, hey, I'll take one for the team. Let's tackle this guy. I'm being funny, but I'm being serious. Because it seems like all the power was with him, and he was able to get away with this. Maybe that's just, I don't know. Second question I have, did he have an aeronautical background? Because how did he know, hey, I need you guys to fly 10,000 feet, 200 knots? You know what I mean? Just think about it. He ordered the plane to fly under 10,000 feet at a speed slower than 200 knots. This man have had to either study aircraft, aeronautic, to have some type of background to be able to order that type of numerical decision. He had to. The common guy wouldn't have known that, right? Let's talk about the aftermath. Now, the aftermath of this, they had, years later, I think in 1980, a little boy found a briefcase full of money. They had, the FBI launched this huge investigation, launched this massive manhunt to try to find D.B. Cooper, or whatever his name was, Dan Cooper, D.B. Cooper. Never found this guy. Years later, they found a guy that looked just like him. Hey, that's my brother. That's my uncle. This mystery has never been solved. 1971. It is 2022. Will this ever be solved? We never know. We may never know, right? So where are the copycats coming in with this? Is someone going to copycat this? Because there's been planes hijacked over the years, but nothing to the level of this. This guy, for one, he was a genius because he knew about aeronautical tactics. He knew what he could get away with. He picked the right flight crew. He picked the right plane. He knew everything. Everything was orchestrated. He didn't wake up in the middle of the night trying to, figure this out. This was planned. This was choreographed. This was synchronized. And then, one thing I want to know, was it an inside job? Did he have assistants with this? We may never know. This happened in 1971, and it is 2022. It's amazing how all these years, nothing has happened. There have been leads. There have been trails. You have the dogs. The little boy finding the money. The person was like, hey, that was my uncle. I co-worked with him, whatever. But nothing has been concrete. Is he still alive? That's a mystery. Hey, thanks for guys for tuning in. Again, this was part 1 of a 5-part series as I dive into the unknown, the unsolved mysteries. See you again next week for part 2 of Behind the Curtain. Thanks for tuning in. This is DA, host of the Nomad Cast. Trust and believe. Down